The following is a presentation of 3KG Community Broadcasting.
Good evening and welcome to the Coach's Cage Show, brought to you by 3KG. Week 6 is in the books. We're heading down the home stretch for Week 7 already. And we finally got some football weather, Bob Kurtz, in last weekend. That was nice. But we didn't.
It affected our local teams, though, didn't it?
Didn't get too many victories here.
One win out of 6.
Hopefully they're not too, take it easy on us. They're not too.
Be gentle with the questions this week.
Yeah,
exactly. All right.
Okay, scores from last week. That game that we were at from South Newton, our second week there. And it was West Central coming on strong. And they won 56-26 over South Newton. Traders Point beat Tri-County 52-6. Frontier knocked off North Newton 36-20. North White beat Caston 33-16. Central Catholic beat Rensselaer Central 42-7. And Lowell bested Kankakee Valley 38-29.
Things. Usually whatever point I'm trying to get across is what I focus on. You know, so like I remember when we watched the South Newton film, we were going back over that, like where did we go wrong? Well, we had two guys go after the same guy for a block, which left the safety one-on-one in the hole instead of us picking him up and accounting for him. And he ended up making the tackle, so, it was a gain of 3. I'm like, well, if we just all of us go to our job and just do what we're supposed to do, all of a sudden we have a hat for a hat across the board, and the ball goes right where we want to go, and the gain of 3 turns into a gain of 10 or more. Instead, we try to do someone else's job for whatever reason, and then that leaves one guy open, and now it turns into a gain of 3. So it's the little things like that trying to fix, and that was the message of that game, that and effort. So that's just every game. We look at, like, how close were we to doing this? Well, if you would have taken just one step inside, you'd be there. If you would have taken just one step outside, but you don't know that at the moment because you haven't experienced it yet. So it's stuff like that we focus on. And then, the let's say 4 or 5 times we do it correctly later on in the game, we show those. I'm like, look what happens when you do it correctly. We get plays. So, so Traders Point left their varsity in the entire game, which they don't have a whole lot of kids in their roster. They still like 25 or so. They left their varsity in the entire game. We went on a 10-play, 85-yard drive versus their varsity in the second half. I was like, we picked a great time to do that. It would have been cool if we would have done that in the first half too. But, hey, it's better late than never. And there's little things I'm like, they left their best players in, and we moved the ball at will because we just did our job. And we kind of got used to the things they were doing. We were able to adapt and make plays. So,
is that the hardest thing for the kids to adapt to what's going on from the opposition?
Yeah, I think so because, like I said, you spend all week at practice drawing up, I don't want to say a specific look, but essentially you draw up what you think the other team's going to do, what they've shown on film, what you think, how they'll play you, stuff like that. And then you prepare the kids for that. And if the other team comes out and shows something completely different, which they tend to often do, that you just have to adapt to that. So that's the frustrating part of it. And as you get older, you kind of learn to adapt to those individual scenarios. Maybe you spent all week preparing for a team and they're a 4-front or they're an even front, and all of a sudden you come out and they line up in an odd front. Okay, well, I was responsible for the dude in the B gap, and now instead of there being a D lineman there, now there's a linebacker. So who am I responsible for now? Well, probably still the guy in the B gap. And it's little things like that.
Coach, it seemed like, is it true that there's a fine line between winning and losing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of my favorite games I ever played in. We went to Pioneer. This was the year I was in high school playing for Chris Bell. We went to Pioneer. We'd lost to Pioneer almost by identical scores the previous year. We lost to them 56-7 the first time and 56-6 the second time. So we were anything consistent the year before. So we go to their place in week 3, my junior year, and we go in there and we throw an interception on the first play of the game. Joey Miller returns it down to the 10-yard line, and then they go 4 and out from the 10. They run the ball 4 times, and they don't get 10 yards. We get the ball back, and we drove 95 yards, whatever it was, and we fumbled the ball on, like, the 3-yard line on the other end of the field. So we ended up turning the ball over, I think, 6 times that game, and 4 of those were in the red zone. And we lost by 4 touchdowns. So it's like, so you look at it and you're like, there are 4 plays that literally separated us from winning or losing that game. And it's like, you can play great for the other 96, but if the 4 you need don't go your way, it could look bad. And that was the thing, like Bell kept telling us. He's just like, guys, like the score is not indicative of how close this game was. He's like, we were 4 plays away from beating the number 2 team in the state on their field. But fortunately, those 4 plays all went in the other team's favor, and we lost by 4 touchdowns.
Oh, yeah.
So you tell someone, we lost by 28. Oh, that wasn't a close game. Then no, it was a close game. The other thing we looked at, remember that game, is they had 3 or 4 touchdown runs of 60 yards or more. Well, okay, they ran the ball. I think it was like 35 times, something like that, for like 300 yards. Well, you take 4 touchdown runs of 60 yards or whatever it was, you knock those out, and just assume that you do your job the rest of the game. Well, I remember, I don't remember what the exact number was, but it was like less than 3 yards a carry if you take those touchdown runs out of the play. You're like, oh, okay, so for the most part, we did our job on defense. We gave up 4 mistakes on defense, and we had 4 mistakes on offense. And if we do either one of those set of 4, we probably win the game, or we go to overtime, or you never know what happens. But instead, we lose by 4 touchdowns.
Anybody play well for you the other night?
Yeah, I thought we had a handful of kids who played really well. Start off our O-line, they played phenomenally well. Like I said, we're doing a better job of just getting to our blocks, winning our blocks when we get there. Timing things up, which all comes with repetition and experience. I thought Kobe Baylor did a good job throwing the ball. Had a lot of throws on cue. He had 1 interception, but it was starting to sprinkle out a little bit. Ball got a little wet, and it just kind of slipped out of his hand. He wasn't quite expecting the wet ball at that moment, and it kind of just slipped out of his hand and just kind of fluttered and was intercepted. I'm like, that's not really your fault. Like, it is what it is. But no, I thought he did a great job other than that. Made some good reads in the option game. Ran hard. Caught a pass. So, he did well. J.P. Schimmerhorn, he ran really hard. He had a couple of really good runs. He listened to me finally and followed his pullers. And then he saw the hole open up and he cut back and he hit it. And it was a gain of 20-something yards. And then he had another one where he ran through contact and, drug a guy 10 yards. And it was awesome to see. So he took a gain of 5 and do a gain of 15. So that was cool. Out wide, Riley Hughes, Bryce McMorrow, they both played really well. Jacob Stoller had a few catches. He had an amazing catch on 4th and 12. He went and right at the yard to gain. It was a low throw. He went down, he plucked it out of the ground and caught it. And the ref called it a completion. And he goes, he's like, don't let me see the film that says that wasn't a catch. And I was like, yes, sir. But no, it was an amazing play by him. It was awesome. It was bang bang. Could have gone either way. Defensively, I thought Tyson Jordan played well. He played really hard. Eric Minnick is coming back off of an injury. We expect him to be back this week. He's going to probably make some good plays for us. Jonathan Pearson, he flies around. He just tries to hit everything he can find. Bryce McMorrow had a huge hit, and the dude still caught the touchdown. It was an amazing catch. It's one of those times where you just know that it's not your night. So they threw a pass in the red zone, and our linebacker tipped it. And their receiver still was in the vicinity. He went up and got it, and he exposed himself, and our safety popped him in the stomach, and it was raining, and he held on to it. I was like, we quite literally couldn't have done anything more besides actually catching it ourselves, but
right.
Good for you, buddy. So he had a huge hit. And Kobe Baylor played well as always on defense. He flies around. He understands the game he learns things faster than I think most kids can. There's times where I'll say something and I don't have to repeat it to him a second time, and he'll repeat it back to me before I even say it again. I'm just like, oh, okay, that's nice. So he'll learn things and at very, very fast level, and he picks things up very quickly. He's a very smart kid.
Jake West is our guest here, Tri-County football coach. Jake, we talked off there a little bit about your attitude of your club, and you've had some good practices this week, you said. Yeah,
we've had good practice. So you go leading up to the South Newton game. 2 weeks ago, we had a good practice every single day. And then all of a sudden we get to Friday and it all falls off the wagon. Okay, so our limit is 4 good days. Glad to know. So you go back to the next week then, Traders Point. I thought we had good practices all week again. And I know the score shows it was very lopsided. I felt that was the best all-around game we'd played all year. Defensively, we're getting to our assignments. Were we getting maybe a little too deep at the end and they were optioning off of us? Sure, that's correctable. I thought we flew around. I thought we filled gaps. I thought we read our keys. The first touchdown they threw was a 35-yard touchdown pass. It was one of the nicest footballs I've ever seen thrown from a high school quarterback. He dropped it right over everyone's head, right into the back of the end zone where only his guy could get it. Our safety was, if that ball was underthrown by a yard, it was intercepted. Unfortunately, it was a perfect throw. just seems to work out that way.
Sure.
So I'm like, you're very proud of it because you have to dare the other team to make a play, and sometimes they just make those plays. So I was happy with our effort and execution on both sides of the ball. So yeah, everyone's positive, happy. Good week this week.
Let's talk about who you play and tell us about the scouting report on them.
So we play Frontier this week. They actually throw the ball around. It's hard to tell on film, but everyone's told me they go no huddle, so I'm expecting that. Because obviously on huddle the play stops and you don't actually know if anyone's subbing in or out or not. But I don't really see them ever in a huddle, so I have no reason to assume they are. Anyways,
that's good to know,
that's
though,
good,
right?
That's good to know. So they throw the ball around a lot. They like a lot of empty sets. They have a really talented young quarterback. Their quarterback's a sophomore, and he's leading the conference in passing yards, I think. So he's lighting it up, and he's going to be an issue for years if he keeps up what he's doing. They've got a couple of athletes on the perimeter, number 7, number 10. They both move pretty well in space. They run hard. They run physical. They're thicker bodies. So no, they've got some athletes on both sides of the ball. And they've got the shorter kid he plays O-line and linebacker, and he's a hoss. He's a big kid. He moves well. So he's an issue to take care of as well.
What are going to be the keys?
Well, execute and do our job. Win when we get to those blocks, and put points on the board. So I trust our defense. I'm rapidly learning the difference between offense and defense. Defense is more you have rules and go play. Offense is it's more like you're almost putting on a play. Like you have to be here at this time. You have to be here at this time. Well, all this stuff. There's more working parts to it. So if I trust the defense to go and then follow their rules and just play hard, it's offense like we have to get our timing down, and that comes with that experience factor. So I think if we can just stay on time, stay ahead of the chains, run the ball effectively, don't make stupid decisions, I think we'll be just fine.
Get a good start.
Get a good start, please.
How are the younger Cavs doing?
The younger Cavs are doing well. They scored the JV scored their first touchdown of the year. They went to Winnemac. They scored. One of our freshmen, he took an inside run up the middle. It took it like 20 yards to go put some points on the board. That's exciting. It's hard for them to see that success because they're so used to getting limited reps in practice and then going and asked to play a game. Because all the teams we play are bigger than us, pretty much.
Sure.
For JV, I think most of the teams we've played have been 2 or bigger, 2A or bigger, and we're just a little 1A school. So we're playing much bigger teams. We scheduled just this week. We play Harrison's freshman team. So I'm good friends with some of Harrison's coaches. They have 55 freshmen. They have 55 freshmen. They actually started the year with 70. They had 15 quit. I was like, man, that must be nice. Because I remember I was so excited. We had 32 kids come out for football, and I was talking to my friends up there, and they're just like, oh, we had 70. I was like, you guys only had 70? He's like, no, we had 70 freshmen. I'm like, all right, relax. But no, so that's a good experience for them. But those kids there, they have so many numbers that they can practice all the time. They're practicing their system all the time. So that's clearly an advantage for them.
Sure.
So,
Jake,
no, they're doing well.
Thanks for coming out. Appreciate it very much. Good luck, and we'll talk to you next Wednesday, okay?
No problem. It's perfect time. The sun's getting right below the sun.
That's right. Jake West, Tri-County coach, been our guest. Back with more of the Coach's Cage on 3kgthecage.com right after this.
High-quality, personalized dental service is what they do at Hillcrest Dental. For over 40 years, generations have relied on Hillcrest Dental for beautiful, healthy smiles. Dr. John Ayler and Dr. Jack Drone look forward to seeing you for your next dental visit. For information or to set your appointment, call 219-866-7117. That's 219-866-7117. Or visit hillcrestdental.net. Hillcrest Dental is a proud sponsor of all high school athletics.
Meet you at Arnie's, Rensselaer's go-to pizza and so much more. Pizza, sandwiches, burgers are here. Don't forget about dessert. Wings, cheese sticks, garlic bread too. Arnie's pizza menu has something for everyone. Dine in or carry out in the best pizza in town. Located across from St. Joseph's College in Rensselaer. Call 219-866-9999 and meet you at Arnie's.
Bill K. Scotty Miller running the board as always. Appreciate Scotty very much and Bill. And we're 3kgthecage.com. And Chris Meeks stepped behind the microphone now. Rensselaer Central football coach. Chris, we always talk about these 2 weeks against Lafayette schools. They're tough weeks for you guys, aren't they?
They are. I mean, they are. You look at them this year's version. West Lafayette's number 1, 3A. Haven't played a close game yet. we watched them against Harrison, beat them by 2 touchdowns down in Indianapolis at Lucas Oil Stadium to start the season, and they haven't missed a beat. They're a phenomenal team. And then Lafayette Central Catholic is ranked 7th in 2A, and they've lost to their losses are to West Lafayette and a very good Guerin Catholic team that's ranked high in 3A. So we knew those would be tough games, and it's easy to panic, but we have to remember we have young kids, and they are growing. Making mistakes is part of it. So again, we don't have the luxury, the benefit of playing JV and letting them learn. We're learning on the fly against a very, very competitive schedule. And, you throw KV in there too. Throw KV in Twin. I mean, it's a tough schedule. But we are pleased with our kids. We're making improvement. We were talking before we went on the camera. That was a tight game right before halftime. They scored a touchdown right before half. It was actually 7-7 after one quarter. They went down and scored to go up 14-7. We had an opportunity to score right before halftime. Didn't take advantage. Then we had a turnover deep in our territory. Again, a mistake. Our quarterback is calling out something to the formation, and then the ball inadvertently gets snapped. He didn't expect it, and they jumped on it. So they have the ball at the 15-yard line. And you can't do that with a team like that. So they score right before half to go up 21-7. So, yeah, the score was 42-7, similar to the West Lafayette game, but many positives. We will be better because of that game. And I will tell you, our kids came back and have had a great week of practice. And our kids see the growth and the belief that we're going to keep putting this thing together. And, when you look at us offensively and defensively, we only have a couple seniors on each side playing. We have several sophomores. So the kids are doing a good job. Effort's there. So we are not in panic mode, and we know that we can improve a lot, and we will keep improving.
So do you just forget about these last 2 games and just look ahead, or do you learn something from them and apply that to the rest of the season?
Well, the 2 games would be absolutely worthless if our kids were non-competitive and we just went out and laid down and got beat 55-0 and 42-7. They would be meaningless games. No, our kids take pride. We come back, we watch film, and I think our coaches do a tremendous job of pointing out, not attacking our kids, but critiquing and showing, if we did this, then this would have happened. And in several situations, we had opportunities to maybe score or have big plays, offensively or defensively, and just little things that we got to get fixed. And a lot of it is inexperience, but there's a lot of room for improvement, and we are working towards that. The kids are working towards that, and by no means we're 3-3. We're not 0-6. I mean, we haven't been outscored 50-0 each game. I mean, our kids understand that we have a good ball club, and we've played some great teams, and I feel like we're on the verge of taking off, and I don't know if we're going to win sectional, regional, or whatever, but I think we'll be playing our best football come here at the next 2, 3, 4 weeks.
So if you looked at your offense, how close are you guys to getting to that peak performance where they can get?
We're very close. We have some things that we were concerned about.
Is it blocking?
It's a few things, but we have some things that we were concerned about that these last 2 opponents exploited. And, not going in detail on camera here, but we have addressed those things. We think we have shored up some things. And I think you guys might be a little surprised when you see us Friday night. We'll look a little differently than we have the last few weeks.
Is that players in different positions? Or?
But we got to keep doing things until we find the right chemistry, the right mix. We feel pretty good about where we were at tonight and last night.
All right, let's talk about the focus and practice this week.
It's been very focused. Benton Central, 3-3. We could see last year that coach, Standifer, he made a difference last year. It may not have showed in the record, but the way the kids competed and understood what they were doing, as I look at Benton Central, I can't remember the last time they were 3-3 at this point in the season.
Right.
I know David Black had some pretty darn good teams when he coached, but They're good. When you watch them, they're good. They have a potent offense. Their quarterback, Widmer, does a great job of distributing the ball to Deno and those excellent receivers they have. They struggle a little bit in the running game, but you would think that you could just key on their pass, but you can't. The quarterback can tuck and run. He's a dual-threat kid, and he's really a playmaker. He's an impressive kid. He's a junior. He's impressive, and he's got impressive receivers to throw to. So they're going to be a fit for us defensively. And then defensively, when you look at their defense, they're aggressive. They play downhill. They've got athletes on the back end. So they look like a Hoosier Conference team. They're a good ball club. So our focus has been very good. We know we have our hands full. We know we have to play very well to beat them. How do you match up with them size-wise? Size-wise, we're okay size. In the past, we've been pretty small, but I think it's pretty even up front. But on paper, it looks like a pretty even matchup, to be honest with you. They do a nice job stopping the run. We, of course, like to run. We're doing more in the passing game. So, it makes for a pretty good matchup, I think.
How important is it to win this game?
It's huge. It's huge. I would be lying to you if I said it. It's not. It's huge. The two beatings we've taken the last 2 weeks, our kids need some success. We practice hard. I think we do all the things we need to do to be successful. Now we need a W to show for it.
How about the younger Bombers? Where are we at on the younger team?
Yeah. Middle school played at Judson last week. I didn't hear the score, so I can't give you the exact results on that. But JV played a very entertaining game the other night against Lafayette Central Catholic. Those are our freshmen, all right? So they're playing JV ball. And really an entertaining game. Came down to the last couple minutes. Central Catholic won 27-24. But I was very pleased with the way our kids played there. And flag football, we had our second Sunday. And, man, Bob, I'm telling you.
Lit up the scoreboard again.
We had to change light bulbs. Seriously. One game got into the hundreds. Yeah. I mean, it was, speed, athleticism, and it's getting a little crazy out there. So kids, unlike 2, 3, 4 years ago, they didn't really, they're just learning to play the game. Now they understand how flag football is played, and, they've got reverse passes and all that stuff, and it makes it fun.
Man, flag football's even coming to the NFL next year.
Football, yeah. Well, let me
getting rid of the pro ball.
Let me throw this out.
Go ahead.
If you guys don't have dinner dates Saturday night, our flag football's under the lights. So at 5:30, we'll have our first practice with second and third graders. Then at 6 o'clock, we'll play games from 6 to 7. And then from 7 to 7:30 will be practice for our fourth and fifth. And then 7:30 to 8:30, we play games. So actually, make it a date. Bring the wives out and have a good time. Eat some hot dogs and enjoy some flag football.
That sounds like a winner to me. Before I let you go, you're 6 games in. Are you where you thought you'd be as a team now? A little behind schedule, a little ahead of schedule? Where are you at?
To be honest with you, we always have very high expectations. So I think, again, I would be lying to you if I told you that, we wanted a better record than 3-3 at this point. But when you go and look at who we played, KV's sitting at 4-2, 4A KV. Hamilton Heights is sitting at 4-2, 3A Hamilton Heights. You've got West Lafayette, number 1 in the state. You've got Central Catholic, number 7 in the state. So we've played a tough competitive schedule. We're sitting at 3-3. We're going to do anything and everything we can to try to win these last 3 games, build some momentum going into the tournament. So, no, we're not satisfied, but we also know that we have an opportunity to do some very good things before we get into that tournament. And as you know and I know, it's important to get on a roll before you get to sectional.
Chris, thanks for coming in. We'll talk to you Friday night, all right?
Yep, thanks a lot.
Thanks, Coach.
Chris Meeks, the Rensselaer Central Bombers, back with more of the Coach's Cage right after this.
Hi, this is Chuck Clark with the Underwood Insurance Agency, formerly Preferred Insurance Group. Are you tired of being sacked every month with your auto insurance bill? Do you feel you just pay your premium to your agent and never hear from them? We at the Underwood Insurance Agency work with over 10 insurance carriers to get you our best rate and coverage we can, and we pride ourselves on serving our customers like they are our family. We are conveniently located in Remington and Lafayette. We can be reached at underwoodagency.com. Reach out to us to score big savings.
Working with our customers has been Kentland Bank's trademark for 87 years. We're dedicated to making your visit a lasting one, and helping you achieve your goals is our #1 priority. With 5 locations, Kentland Bank offers all loans needed for today's businesses and families, including car loans, mortgages, agriculture, and commercial loans. We're here to make your busy life less hectic by offering online and mobile banking, bill pay, and P2P payments. Member FDIC and equal housing lender. After a hard day's work or play, it's time for some relaxation, and there's no better place than Unwind on Front Street in Rensselaer. For massage therapy, facials, spray tanning, yoga classes, and wellness, stop by Unwind. They also offer student athletes 30-minute massages for $25. Alina would like to thank Unwind's loyal customers for their patronage since 2016. To make an appointment, call Unwind at 219-869-0290.
Back on the Coach's Cage, Bob Kurtz, Bill Case, Scotty Miller with you here at Arnie's in Rensselaer, right across from St. Joseph's College. Come on in and join us, and great food, drinks, camaraderie. What more do you ask for, right?
What more? Exactly.
Brad
Week
B.
after week, Bob. It never
That's
gets
right.
old.
I know.
Which
We
is fun.
thank Beth Graff and her.
Yeah, I got here for the early pizza today.
Yeah, you did.
I thought we got a new one, but they said, no, we get that every week. We're just not here early enough.
Brad Vivas, you hear him and see him, and we were over at South Newton, finished up a 2-week run over there, and wasn't what I expected, Brad. I thought it was going to be a close game. It was for a while, but then West Central took control.
Yeah, it was for a while. I think just a little under 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. It was still an 8-point game.
28-20, wasn't it?
36.
28?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
26-14.
Yeah.
Well, he's got it right
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
I have
28-20.
34-26 there in the third. So.
Oh, yep.
So at that point, it's still a game, and then they kind of just kept leaning on us and got a few more there in the fourth quarter. But, it was just a game that we knew was going to go back and forth, and it started off that way through the first half. A big play was a kickoff return that we didn't get on and kind of gave them another possession. They were up 12-8.
Yeah, what happened on that play?
I took the blame for it on Monday. It's a first-year player. I guess this didn't cover that part of it. He thought the ball was going to go out of bounds. Didn't realize it was a live ball. So, as a head coach, I just got to take the blame. I know we didn't cover that, apparently, so I'll take it. But he just thought the ball was going to go out of bounds and thought probably more like a punt. We don't have to recover it. And, I
bet he knows it now, right? Everybody
knows
knows
it now,
it
and
now.
that's, it's just one of those things. It's a learning curve.
Sure.
So, but that was, we were still going back and forth at that point, and I gave them an extra possession, and then they score. So now they're up 2 scores, and from there you're playing catch up. And at some point you have to start pressing, and when we started pressing, then some mistakes came out. But even at halftime, it's still a ball game. So,
did you expect that high scoring of a game?
I thought it'd be more of a low-scoring game, honestly. I thought it'd be 3rd and 5s a lot, and just couldn't get out of out of the downset. I think one time in the third quarter, it was 4th and 6, I believe, and we just weren't disciplined enough to not jump on their hard count. And then it's 4th and 1, they got 2.5 yards. So just
they
things
have
like
a lot
that.
of talented skill players, don't they?
Yeah, they do, and they play real tough, and I wouldn't say they wanted it more, but they played a little bit harder than us Friday night. So. Hats off to them. We had I counted 5 turnovers in the game, or change of possessions there. That kind of swung, and they had 4 of them. We had 1. So,
I thought your passing game looked good at parts, and then the other parts they were so close.
Yeah,
so close to really connected a lot.
They're playing a lot of man-to-man on us, and we have some pretty good receivers, so that was our advantage to them. And we got. Like I said, several times there, they would score, and we'd come right back and 3 or 4 plays and score. So, when we get our passing game going, it's pretty explosive up front. We're trying to block Buzz, number 70. We're trying to double team him a lot. That was our game plan going in, but somehow, he ended up in our backfield. So we didn't do a good job in there, and that's why that kid's an all-conference player a couple of years in a run. So, they're a good team, and obviously they beat us. We're not going to make excuses about it, but we'll get back to work this week and. Working on some of those things that we didn't do well because Northwest's going to do some similar things to us. So, so just one of those. I'm not totally upset with it. I wish we would perform better, but, at some point you just get beat. That's kind of part of life and part of sports sometimes. So that's kind of how we've played with our kids. We're not going to sit there and yell and scream about it. We're going to get, we're going to correct some things. We're going to let them know what they did wrong, but we're not going to sit there and harp on it. So that's how we handle it.
Brad, how much time in practice do you spend with your passing game and your running game?
So we do about 10 to 15 minutes, depending on the night, Tuesday, Wednesday, with our inside game. So just our running game, tackle to tackle, and doing that. So we do two nights of it, but we do different types of segments there. We get our backups in, do some segments. And then on Thursday, we go through the whole thing as a team. Passing-wise, we'll have at least one segment if we feel like we need to pass, like last week and then this week where we know we're going to get cover 0 and they're going to put some pressure on us. We know we're going to have to pass the ball. We have 2 sessions of passes. So like we did passing last night and tonight, about 15 minutes a piece, and just go through all of our pass routes and do all that kind of stuff. And that's beyond just our individual work. That's, that group pod. I call them pods. So we do our pod work. So you're looking at, we're spending a half an hour on a run game a week, just specifically running through our plays, and anywhere from 20 minutes to 30 minutes on our passing game as a team or as pods. And then on Thursday, we do it all it takes about 25 minutes to get through our whole. We pretty much go up and down the field about 3 times and work on our 2-point plays in that time and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of our standard, and obviously if we need to do some other things, we'll adjust practice to accommodate that. But if we have a game where we feel like we need to go do a lot more of our jet sweeps, we'll do a jet sweep period and things like that. So it just kind of changes week to week.
Now, are most of these plays, the plays are the pods, right? That's a group of,
yeah,
group
so it's like linemen and running backs, and I call those pods.
Oh, okay. Now, so the plays that you take in any game, are these all the same plays that you've had at the start of the year?
Yeah.
Or do you throw in new stuff as the season goes, or you just pick out compared to your opponent who you got?
So we run through all of our plays. So when we first start this off in preseason, we might have 6 plays, 3 left, 3 right. Okay, and we'll cycle through those, and that takes 8 minutes. And as we start putting stuff in, our quarterback, we just go through them. So we go left and right, and our formations, and that changes stuff. And our quarterback runs it. So the coaches don't really call out the plays. And Coach Durham's done this for years. The quarterback's responsible for running that drill. So they run through the plays. Typically, some of the smarter ones will go all the plays to the left and all the plays to the right in the same order, and they get it. Some of the younger ones, sometimes when they're first learning, they'll pick and choose. Be like, did you run that play? Well, no. But as they get to be juniors and seniors, they typically figure out that pattern. So we run it. But, yeah, so this week we probably have to run 14 plays maybe, and that's just because all different sets and how we can run things. But, yeah, we just run through all of them, and we give them a time period. If they get through it, they get extra break. If they if they need more coaching or whatever, they don't get as much break. But we kind of give them. That's like I said, we do like 10 minutes, but really at the beginning of the year, it's take about 7 to 8, and then now we give them about 15. It should take them about 12-ish if they run perfect and efforts there and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of a little bit of incentive for them, but it also helps us with the quarterback to understand what the plays are, because a lot of times their quarterback, if they're not used to doing that, they don't understand the plays actually. They don't understand their part. So this is our way of kind of putting it on them and understanding what the plays are and what motions they need without us telling them. Now on Thursdays we kind of dictate. We do our whole the card thing, and they read off the wrist collar, so it's more game-like on that. But that's how we handle that. Yep.
I'm going to ask a question I don't think I've ever asked before. In all the years, I just thought of it here. Does your quarterback have the ability to call audibles, or he has to run the exact play that you guys send in?
Exact play we run in. Now we do have some couple plays where it's a check with the coach. So there'll be some plays where it's maybe a run play, but if we see something, we work on this stuff. If we get a certain matchup one-on-one, like we got Corbin Cruz out there one-on-one, and we feel like we can run a certain thing there, the quarterback and Coach Durham, they have I don't even know what the language is. They have their own little thing, but I don't know if it's something, do things. But they signal, and then the whole team thinks the play is going somewhere else possibly, and it's just a two-man thing. So it's more of a check with me coach thing. But we do run a lot of options, so there's a lot of read this, you have a couple options here, or, if in our passing game, we still read like outside linebacker, so, he doesn't know where he's going to throw it at first, but that guy bells, he's going to throw it here, or if he plays here aggressive, we're going to throw it over the top of him. So there's some choices. It's not a true, audible,
right.
But yeah, we don't do that very often.
Now, you said you use signs.
We do use
What are the
signs.
signs for? I never did
So
understand that. Why do you have signs on the sideline?
Some teams do it to be cute, I guess. We do it because we had so much trouble getting out of the huddle about 3 or 4 years ago. And we had done it before, like on a fast.
This for offense or defense?
Offense.
Oh, okay.
So on offense, we had so much trouble getting out of the huddle, like getting the play into the huddle, getting out of the huddle, and lining up.
Right.
So this helps our kids. We don't have to huddle. They all got the play on their arms, on the wrist collar. There's a code system that we use, and they get to play. So we give them the formation verbally, and then they get to play from that, and they look down. They know what play they're running.
Makes sense.
And so we're not doing it to be fast. Some teams do that to be fast. Like
Yeah.
you go watch West Lafayette, and they got their card flipper, and they're trying to those guys work really fast. We just do it to be efficient. And same thing West Central does. That's the thing is like neither one of us huddled. I think there was 3 huddles the whole game Friday night. And I think most of them are by us, but they don't huddle up either. They have a number system they use. And same thing, they use the wrist collar, and it's just a more efficient way, especially for these smaller schools, where we don't want kids running in and out. We only have 11 kids we think that can really perform well. So you want to keep your kids out there. You also want to go, hey, we're running to the right, type thing. But we have 2 seniors. One of our side kids actually plays now. About 2 weeks into the season, he decided he wanted to play football, so his sister took over for him. So we have 2 other seniors that do that, and they've done it for a couple of years, and we have a sophomore young lady that does it as well. So they practice it a couple times a week.
Oh,
and
cool.
We're pretty efficient with it. And sometimes I forget my wrist collar, so I don't know what play's being ran. So I have to ask people what the play is. So most of them I can tell right away, but sometimes I'm like, what's that play? But, yeah, that's the whole story behind the signs. It's just a way for us to be more efficient. I mean, that's the name of the game is getting your kids to be efficient and perform.
Big game for the Rebels this week. Big game. North White,
yeah, they've been a thorn in our side for about 4 years now. We thought, we might have had them a couple times, and they've proved us wrong several times. But last 4 years have been some high-scoring games, some back-and-forth games. So I think it's going to be hopefully not that way, but you got to think it's going to be that way. And we're going to go over there, and they're going to be tough. They're going to be big. We know that Quaysbarth kid's going to run the ball a lot and be involved in everything they do. So
it's
we know
quarterback, right?
Quarterback, yeah, he's back. He's injured for a couple weeks. Last year he broke off an 86-yard run and a 93-yard run. That was kind of the difference in the game. At that point, we kind of got behind and, had to play catch-up. But
Don't do that this week, then.
Trying not to. We're trying not to. You got to follow those pull guards. Sometimes they'll pull 2 linemen and 2 backs and lead 4 guys up around the end. So if our kids can't figure out they're running that direction, then we definitely didn't coach them up very well this week. But, it's going to be a good game. We got to win to stay in contention for the conference. West Central still got to play Frontier and North White. So, there's still a chance for us to possibly sneak in there and be a co-champion, but we got to take care of our business first. So go over to Monon and play on that field.
6 games in the season. Where are you at right now? Where are you at right now?
Personally, I'm good. I'm good. I actually can't believe it's week 7. Like this week, I was actually joking with my coaches because we have the trees around the practice field. So all of August, we try to stay in the shade sometimes as coaches. We don't want to sweat too much either. And I kind of go out and back and forth, but my 2 of my coaches like to stay in the shade a lot. And this week they're like, hey, we're going out here in the sun. I'm like, you guys spent all August being in this, wanting to be over here in the shade. Now you don't want to be in the shade. Well, it's cold now. I know. So it's kind of that transition. I feel good about where we're at. We're relatively healthy. We have a couple injuries, a couple bumps and things, but kids are going to come back this week or next week.
4-2, is that where you thought you'd be, or less, or even more?
Yeah, I think if you told me to be 4-2, I'd say, I think we can win a couple more. But I'm not going to 4-2. I'm not going to take away from either. West Central is very good, and Traders Point is leading the state in passing. I think is another team we lost to.
And they're taking care of the Midwest Conference, aren't they?
I think they should just join our conference. They already played 3 of us. There's only 2 more left. No, I'm happy with where we're at. I'm not really satisfied ever because I think we could have played better in both our losses. But we'll take 4-2 and we'll play in this last. We got 3 more games left, so we got a third left. And if we can do that, I think if you can wipe off 3 in a row, now you're 7-2. That's a pretty darn good season.
Absolutely.
Even if you drop one, 6-3 ain't nothing to turn your head up, nose up either, especially where we've been. So I'm happy. Our kids are excited still. Like I said, I just want to get back to playing a little better this week because I thought last week, performance-wise, we just didn't perform. And some of that maybe was West Central, but I think a lot of it was just self-inflicted. So I think that should have been a touchdown, maybe a 2-touchdown game instead of being a 30-point deficit. So
Give an update on the younger Rebels.
Younger Rebels are doing good. We've looked pretty good except for when we came over to Rensselaer. I think they got handed to us pretty good, but that's always a tough battle for our middle school. But other than that, we're really good. They got 2 games left. Got our numbers up. I'm happy about that. It's kind of fun because they practice right behind us. So we're kind of on the same practice field. So I get to go down there a little bit every once in a while and just kind of watch and take it in. So there's definitely some kids that in the next couple of years are going to contribute.
Do they try and run the same stuff as you do or no?
Sort of. Ricky Bonnemeyer's is their coach, who's our new basketball coach, boys basketball. So congratulations to him. That's been a goal of his, coming through. But so he's been through our system. Coach Sturm coached him up. So there's a lot of similarities, but he's kind of doing his own little flavor there. But they still run some option stuff, but it's not quite as intricate as ours is as far as the passing game and some of the other things. So, but he's doing a great job with them. And then we finished up our flag football. We had 42 kids out for that. So we got a bright future. Just got to keep kids involved in football and get them in the weight room in the off season, get them stronger.
Well, sure, Brad. We had previous years where we talked. Would you have enough people to even play football? And it seems it's good. Like you in West Central Tri-County get the numbers up now.
Yep, I think middle school's looking good for a lot of us now, and it just comes in cycles, and we're small schools, and football's not. It's not as alluring as it used to be because there's so many other things the kids could do. Back 20 years ago, whenever I played, there wasn't much to do. You didn't have cell phones, and I grew up just outside of Terre Haute, so we could go into the city and have some fun. Go to movies and stuff, but that was tough. You just pretty much stayed in your community, and now kids go everywhere. So, it's just football's that kind of nature, and football's tough. Like I tell kids all the time, if you play football, you're special because there's a lot of kids that can't handle it.
Right.
You can't handle the August heat. You can't handle the October cold. You can't handle the physicality of it.
Community State Bank in Brook is your community bank. We specialize in relationship banking while offering the technology required to meet your modern banking needs. Community State Bank is the area leader in new construction loans and home mortgages. Our lenders know small business and have products to meet your farm and business needs. We're available to get to know you and your needs today at 224 West Main in Brook or by calling 219-275-2441.
Meet you at Arnie's, Rensselaer's go-to pizza and so much more. Pizza, sandwiches, burgers are here. Don't forget about dessert. Wings, cheese sticks, garlic bread too. Arnie's pizza menu has something for everyone. Dine in or carry out in the best pizza in town. Located across from St. Joseph's College in Rensselaer. Call 219-866-9999 and meet you at Arnie's.
Reinforcements Designs is a full-service graphic design, screen printing, and sign shop. They offer logo designs, screen printing, banners, signs, vehicle lettering and graphics, airbrushing, vinyl letterings, digital printed graphics, freehand engraving, and more. 37 years of design and graphics, Reem Bontrager will help you come up with a customized project of your ideal or plan. Just ask. Give Reinforcements Design a call at 219-866-8626 for your next graphic design project.
Bob Kurtz and Bill Kay and Scotty Miller back on 3kgthecage.com. Of course, you can check out our website to watch the coaches show, or you can go to Facebook and see us there. And then we archive all our coaches shows on our website. So just go there and you'll see archives page and go right to that. And they'll send you right to our YouTube page. So
yeah, so if if you're listening tonight, now, tell your friends. They can still catch it. Maybe they'll like it.
Friday night, it's going to be Hoosier Conference football from Rensselaer Central as the Bombers take on Benton Central. Bombers need a win. They've dropped 2 straight, so we'll see if they get back on the winning track. Speaking of winning, Mark Hall from the West Central Trojans, our only winner out of
They're doing a lot of that
5 games
in Francisville this year, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
Mark, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
You guys looked awful impressive against a tough South Newton team. You just took control of that game and kind of imposed your will.
Yeah, our kids this year are playing really well. They're doing everything we're asking of them, and just things are falling in line for us. And South Newton played a good game. They did what they wanted to do. They followed their game plan, and luckily for us, we were able to just make a few more plays in there.
That was a close game for a while.
Yeah, it was
8-point game in the second half.
Well, they were winning in the end of the first quarter, and then at halftime we had the 8-point lead, and it was still the only 8-point lead until late in that third quarter, and then we were able to get it. I think with like 30-something seconds left, something like that. At the end of the third quarter, to get it to 16, and then the fourth quarter, we were able to push it open there by getting a few more touchdowns in there. And
you know what? He makes me pick a player of the game after all these games.
One. He likes to go with Co. And
I could have had 3 with Lehman and Pilarski and Aiden White.
Yeah.
Boy, they were all tough. And normally that doesn't even count your quarterback, not saying him. Normally he's always right there on number 1. So you got a lot of guys in that backfield.
Yeah, we do. We've got 4 guys back there that we feel very confident that they're going to make plays if we give them the ball. And Connor last week, we didn't. First half we ran a few more option plays than we did in the second half, but it was more of a we weren't running as much option as we normally do. We ran a lot more just fullback dives, and then we were running counters. Our counter games were working really well, and that's what Spencer was hitting on. And Spencer ended the night with 7 carries for 88 yards off of counters. Then he also added a couple of receptions in there for 29 yards, and then Aiden, he ran the ball for 60-something yards, and another 60-something yards on our jet play. So he hit some that were big in there, and he hit one that got called back, and I disagree with the holding call, but he hit it fast.
Oh, man. I remember that play. Remember, Bobby, when we were talking about the difference in yards?
I can't remember yesterday, Bill.
It's like a 40-yard gain
it was,
and then a 20-yard
Oh, yeah, I did.
It was a huge penalty, but, our kids were able to just make plays. In South Newton, they played hard. Our kids were playing hard, and it was just if you look at total yards from the game, I believe South Newton was somewhere in like the 360, 370 range, and we were at 398. So yardage-wise, it was really close, and that shows like what it was at halftime. And the differences are we had an interception return for a touchdown, so that was huge. The big play in the first half that really, I think, turned things, and I think Brad talked about it already, but we kicked off right after we took a 12-8 lead, and the ball just kind of slowly started going towards the sideline and then just stopped. And I think their kid thought it was going out of bounds and just let it go, and our kid hustled down there, and Zion Rodriguez recovered it for us. And
that's like something you don't expect, isn't it?
No, and that was like especially when it's just rolling down there, you're like, well, somebody's going to pick it up, or it's going to do, like, something's going to happen, but you don't typically expect, like, that we're going to run down 40 yards and recover that, because that's not what our intent is on that type of kick.
Right.
And but it worked out for us. We were able to recover it, and then I think it was 3-4 plays later, we're in the end zone, and that gave us a 20-8 lead, and that was, I think, a huge momentum shift in that first half to give us that cushion there, and then we were able to keep that cushion and keep growing it as we got through that second half. And some of that, the score, we had the interception return for a touchdown that made it at that point 50-26, and then our last score, South Newton had gone for it deep in their own end, and they probably wouldn't normally do that if the game wasn't the score wasn't if they didn't need to make 3 scores at that point. So that last one with 7 minutes left there, that's maybe made the score a little bit larger than what the game was originally at, but that South Newton, they kept coming. They after we made that touchdown with 7 minutes to go, they drove right down the field again, but we were able to make a stop there. I think it was inside the 15 even. We were able to make that stop on their 4th down, and then able to get some of our young guys back in there and run some offense, and then put them back in there for defense on South Newton's last possession as well.
That you mentioned the interception by Aiden White. That was one of the prettiest return pickoff and returns for 34 yards. And man, he just looked up and saw his open space.
Yeah, like it just we give Aiden a hard time a lot of times, especially at practice and in film, because his last 2 years on defense, like offense, he catches things. Like, it does a great job catching. Defense, it'll hit him right in the hands or in the face mask or the chest, and he drops it. And we're like, what are you doing?
What's the difference?
And then he caught it on Friday, and I came over. I was like, hey, did you notice how that worked? Like, you caught it, and you're able to run it back for a touchdown. So we were giving him a hard time about that. I said, make sure someone took a picture of that one for you. So
it was a pretty play.
It was great. Yeah, it was a great return by him to get back in there, and that is pretty much what that really ended the game, essentially.
Mark, it seems to be, just from outside, as Bill always says, looking in, that your kids are a lot more confident this year. Is that true or no?
I would say so. And if you look at the last couple of years, our last 2 senior classes had 2 and 3. That's hard to play football games when you don't have a lot of upperclassmen. And
they got to feel outnumbered.
Yeah, and these kids now that are juniors and seniors, they had to play a lot when they were freshmen and sophomores simply because our classes in front of them didn't have many people in them. So they had to play, and they were outsized. They were small, and they took some beatings at times, but they had promise. And we kept telling them, like, understand, like, we're doing some good things. It's just physically you haven't grown yet. So it's like, let's wait until we get a little bit bigger. And now we're at that point. We're a couple of years later here, where these guys now are juniors and seniors, and they're physically have matured a bit, and they do feel more confident. They've been in the weight room for 4 years now, 3 or 4 years, and they're just physically bigger than what they had been when they were previously playing. And now it's finally showing on the field the things that I was seeing for the last few years in the practice field, that we can do some good things. It's just we got to play against people that are our age, and people might say, well, it's only a year or two difference, but this middle school through high school time range, there is a lot of physical development that happens for boys, and having that 1 year or 2 difference is huge. And right now we're just able to get some of the benefits of having these guys that have the experience. Now they've got the physical tools, and they're putting it together.
It's got to probably feel pretty fulfilling as a coaching staff to see, you knew what could happen, and now it is happening. I mean, just as easily there could have been fly in the ointment, and the season could have blown up.
Like there was in 2019, we started that year off 3-0, and then everyone got injured. And there was a point in one of our games near the end of the year that year, we only had 14 guys we dressed for a game, and we had another 14 standing in street clothes. So it's you have years like that where things look promising, and then something just happens. And this year, luckily, so far we've been able to avoid those things, and we're cruising along. And there's. We told the kids last week that it was going to be a big week going into the South Newton game, but we also told them that if we're able to accomplish what our goals are in that game, every week's going to get bigger. And this week we've got Winnemac, our county rival.
Are they still your big rival?
Big rival. Well, they are. It's our county rival, but we haven't made it a rivalry like it needs to be. We haven't beaten them since 2012. So we've got some work to do this week, and making sure the kids, like, they understand that.
So you don't tell them their record, probably, right?
Well, no. Well, they know what Winnemac's record is, and this year Winnemac is down a bit as far as the record's concerned. But we're sending the message that it's been 10 long years, right? And weird things happen in rivalry games. There's a lot of odd things that will occur, but we got to go out there and just do what we're capable of, and make sure that we're focused in and understand what Winnemac's going to do, and try to limit it as much as we can. They've got a running back that best player they have hasn't played the last 3 weeks. From what I hear, he's going to play tomorrow or Friday night. So we got to make sure that our kids understand that what they're seeing on film is going to be a little bit different, because that kid's going to add a little bit extra in there, and just making sure our kids are understanding that it's a big game. We got to make sure that we understand it's a big game, but at the same time, we can't get one play, if it goes badly, too out of whack on things, because it's a long game. And I think we did that last weekend at South Newton. We did that well. Like, South Newton made some big plays. We kept playing, We didn't say, well, I guess it's over. We just kept playing along and doing what we're supposed to. So hopefully this week it's kind of the same thing, that we're going to have to come out and just focus in, and Winamax's going to make some plays, and we can make plays too. So
any other keys besides that?
Well, holding on to the football.
Of course.
That's a big one. Limiting those turnovers, and then penalties. I don't know if you know this.
You didn't have very many.
We got one more day of practice to get it all situated and make sure our kids are all on the same page when we go over to Winamac.
What do you expect from Winamac? What kind of a team are they?
This year they're kind of all over the place. They want to run the ball. They run a lot of ISO. They run a lot of counter. But at the same time, they'll step back and they'll heave it downfield. They do probably a little bit more two-man routes this year than what they've done in the past. They've got some guys that haven't played as much the last couple of years because they've kind of been the opposite of us the last couple of years, where they've had big senior class last year. Last year they had, I think it was like 24, 25 seniors, so they had a lot of guys. And they all were starters. So there's only one guy last year that was not a senior, that was a starter, and that's the running back that is coming back this week. So he's the one that's got experience. The other guys, they saw time here and there last year, but as far as major starting experience, they don't have it. So they're kind of in maybe a rebuild type year. But again, they've still got guys that they're used to winning, and there's in high school when you're just used to winning, there's something to say about that. You look at rivalries in our areas that you think about with like Rensselaer and North Newton. There's years that record-wise those two are pretty close, but then you look at the game they play with each other, it may not be. So there's something to say about when there's a team that they just expect to win it, that another team maybe doesn't feel that way. There's something to say about that as far as games that go into it. So we got to make sure our kids are not thinking that way and understand that they've got the tools that are necessary to go over there and they're capable. We just got to make sure we do it.
Mark, thanks for coming over. Appreciate it.
Hey, I want to ask him one
Go ahead.
thing. Did you get the Gatorade bucket?
Yeah, they a few years ago, the current seniors, when they were like sophomores, they thought it was really funny, and they thought it annoyed me. I told them, like, I really don't care. I said, as long as we win, I don't care. Like it can
it's
be
a cold night for it.
It can be. I told them, I said, it can be -10, as long as we win. Do
they
whatever
got
you want.
Good, didn't they?
And they do. They used to start it off with just one bucket. Now they've started bringing both of them.
It's multiple buckets.
And then some of them like go and get the bottles. And then after the 2 buckets hit me, then they're like squirting them from the front. So it's all over the place.
Wet ride home, then, huh?
Well, I bring clothes.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, it's getting used to it.
Bring stuff to change it. They were upset with me this week because I wore the top I had on. It was like a windbreaker, but it was also a little water repellent.
You're getting smarter.
So it came right off. They're like, well, you're not even wet. And they were upset. So I was like, well.
I'm sure you'll trade another one off for a win this week.
Yeah, sure would.
Thanks a lot, Mark.
All right, thank you.
Good luck.
Mark Hall from the West Central Trojans. Back with more of the Coach's Cage on 3kgthecage.com right after this.
Indiana Farm Bureau insurance agent Joe Goodeman has been serving the Jasper County and surrounding area since 2009. Being involved in the area, Joe Goodeman has kept his interest in making sure he provides the best insurance for his clients. Whether you need life, car, home, business, farm and crops, or even renter's insurance, Agent Joe Goodeman will keep searching for the best policy for your valued investments. Call Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Joe Goodeman at 219-866-4694 or stop in at 2570 North McKinley Avenue in Rensselaer.
High-quality personalized dental service is what they do at Hillcrest Dental. For over 40 years, generations have relied on Hillcrest Dental for beautiful, healthy smiles. Dr. John Ayler and Dr. Jack Drone look forward to seeing you for your next dental visit. For information or to set your appointment, call 219-866-7117. That's 219-866-7117 or visit hillcrestdental.net. Hillcrest Dental is a proud sponsor of all high school athletics. Working with our customers has been Kentland Bank's trademark for 87 years. We're dedicated to making your visit a lasting one, and helping you achieve your goals is our #1 priority. With 5 locations, Kentland Bank offers all loans needed for today's businesses and families, including car loans, mortgages, agriculture, and commercial loans. We're here to make your busy life less hectic by offering online and mobile banking, bill pay, and P2P payments. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Bob Kurtz, Bill Kay, and Scotty Miller back with you on 3KGthecage.com. Friday night, Hoosier Conference football as Rensselaer Central will host Benton Central. Will be on the air around 6:45. Next week, we'll be up at Kankakee Valley as Andrean hooks it up with KV next Friday night, a week from this Friday. Then we finish off the year at Tri-County as Midwest Conference action. It's North Newton at Tri-County for our last regular season game of the year. Kirk Kennedy from the Kankakee Valley Cougars has joined us. Kirk, you had a special trip up to Lowell this past Friday to face your old team, and they got the best of you.
Yeah, it was a great atmosphere. It was kind of a special night. I tried my best to, just make it another game and try to keep the focus where it should be, and that's on the kids and on the game. And I think for the most part we did. We had a normal week of practice. Wasn't anything out of the ordinary or unusual, and heading over there, just like I said, tried to play it cool and be routine. But we started to see familiar faces and people that were like brothers, like Coach Kilmer and Coach Carlson, and some of those guys that we coached together, and then a lot of the guys on the staff over there, guys that we coached, back in the day. So
you recognize them all?
Oh yeah, they've gotten. I'm sure I've stayed the same, but they've all gotten older.
Exactly.
Yeah, they've aged, but I haven't. But anyway, it was a neat evening. We go over there and you're playing a quality opponent, so it's gonna test you in every way imaginable. And the thing about it is we got off to a slow start, and kind of were our own worst enemy in a lot of ways. But credit to the kids for fighting back, and we made it a ball game. You figure we spotted them 14 points, obviously. From their perspective, they like to think they earned them. But, you look at things that you can control rather than, think, well, what did the opponent do, or what, you kind of look at it from your own perspective. And
how did that happen? Were they big plays? Or
well, we received the opening kickoff and kind of, we didn't do it because, it's important to establish something early on. We wanted to get a fast start and didn't do that. And so we ended up punting the ball, and the big part of their offense is the quarterback run, and we worked hard all week to, game plan against it and stop it. And we really consistently, we did, but consistently we weren't able to do that. And they got some big runs, from their quarterback, and obviously led to some scores. And, we had some breakdowns in the secondary, and they got some big plays in the passing game. And like I said, we fought hard and didn't quit. And we were the last team to score a touchdown in that game. But just overall, we had some breakdowns, which ultimately cost us.
Anybody play well for you Friday night?
Yeah, I think that. Well, first of all, just kind of in looking back, our quarterback, I think he's a sophomore. Diego Arroyo, he's a sophomore. But he got knocked around a little bit, more so than usual.
He's not a real big guy, is he?
No, he's not. He's not small, but he's not big. He's average size. But he got knocked around a little bit, a couple times. And he kind of took a little time getting back up off the ground. But that might have been his indoctrination to big time high school football. Friday night. But he battled. He stayed in there and battled and again kept playing, kept fighting. So as a sophomore, he went eye to eye with them and didn't bat an eye. So, and our other sophomore, running back, Marco Castro, he had about 130 yards, I think, on 21 carries. He's gradually, I think, adjusting to what it takes to be an I formation tailback. He's lowering his pad level and taking on tacklers more aggressively and learning to fall forward. And because you figure, let's say, I think he got 21 carries if I remember the stats correctly. So if you fall forward on all of those runs, that's at least 30 more yards of offense just doing that.
Sure.
So, there's a right way and a wrong way to do things, and we talk about paying attention to the details. Do the little things right, and those make big things happen. But we just got to get smarter. Like defensively, getting off blocks, getting to the football, communicating better in the secondary. Things. And the good part about it is, the problems that we have, the issues we're having they're fixable. They're not terminal. It's not like we're hapless or don't have any talent or don't have any desire to play football. It's none of that. It's just problems that we can fix, and we're working hard to fix them.
What'd you say after the game to your team?
Well, I'm proud of them for what they fought, but then when you fight like that, that there's two kinds of effort. There's physical effort and there's mental effort, and if the mental effort doesn't guide the physical effort, a lot of times that physical effort can be wasted, and that just leads to frustration. So, along the lines of being more disciplined and getting smarter, that's kind of what we're talking about, is we have to have that mental effort to go with that physical effort. Nobody's doubting anyone's physical effort, and it's just we have to have the mental effort to go with it, and when we get that, we're going to be a lot more consistent and we're going to be a lot better. 6
games in, assess your season so far. What do you think?
Ups and downs, inconsistencies. I think we're learning how to play football, the way we want to. We're learning to be more aggressive. But still, changing the culture, that's a work in progress. The word culture, I think, is talked about a lot, but maybe not really ever defined. The way we look at it, culture is how you think and what you believe. It's your processes, your systems. It's how you operate. What goes on in the locker room. The belief you take out to the field with you. Your practice habits, your work ethic, and all those things. That's your culture. And any time there's a coaching change, there's gonna be culture change too, because it brings in a different set of expectations. Not better, not worse, just different. And so we're still kind of in the midst of changing the culture. Which nobody's patient, but it'll take a little bit of time. But year one, we've been through 6 games, and I think we're better now than we were, week 1 against Rensselaer. We're definitely more physical. We're playing with more confidence. Our skill, in what we're trying to get done has improved. And, credit goes to the kids and for their belief. We talked the other day in our meeting about you go back through history and every great thing that's ever happened, whether it be going to the moon or the D-Day landings or, anything historically significant like that began with a belief. Whether you go back to, President Kennedy talking about going to the moon in the early 60s or, anything like that. It begins with a belief. And if you have that belief, then you've got a chance. If you don't have that belief, then, there's no point in going any further. So we've got the belief, we've got the plan in place, we've got the kids to do it. Just have to keep working and keep believing, and it'll happen.
Can players get faster, stronger during a season, or is that all got to come off season?
Well, both, I think. Off season, obviously, you're when you're in the weight room and doing your conditioning and your athletic development. That's obviously when the majority of that takes place. Because you talk about when you're in the season, you're physically you're getting beat up and week to week, But also, strength training during the season. In-season strength training is also very important to keep you fresh, and because obviously, everybody conditions, everybody works to stay in shape, but in-season strength training is a big part of that process. So we strength train during the season at least twice a week. It's different than the strength training we do out of season, but also you can build strength in the season to a certain degree, but it's mostly maintenance. Just taking care of the body and helping the body recuperate and refresh for the following week.
You know what? We got 6 coaches that come in every week. Every one of you guys has a really tough stretch of your schedule.
And just keep that clock running and don't put our defense in a bad position. Last Friday against Lowell, I decided it was early on, and I can't remember if it was 7-0 or 14-0, but we went for it around midfield on 4th, and it was about 1.5 yards, I think, a little over 1 yard, 4th, and we didn't get it. And I'd kind of kick myself in the rear end for that. But talk about just field position, momentum. Putting your defense in a bad situation. That's what I'm talking about. So, we just got to give the maximum effort that we can that night, and because like we always talk about it, it's not about our opponents, it's about us. The opponent is always yourself. The true opponent is yourself, and your attitude, your mindset, your preparation, your willingness to get out there and put forth an effort. And we're going to have to do just that. Hobart's a quality program, and we like to think we are too. So, get out there and minimize the mistakes and just give a great effort and let the chips fall where they may. But, if we're playing our best football, that's all that really matters.
How would you grade your lines, both offense and defense, so far this year?
I think that we've improved. The concern early on was just how high we were playing and just really the lack of physicality. But we're taking on blocks more aggressively now, and offensively we're lowering our pad levels and establishing and sustaining our blocks better. So there's been improvement in the offensive and defensive lines, and obviously in football that's where the game's won and lost, in the trenches. So no matter how fancy you try to make it, it's still all about blocking and tackling. So obviously our line play is vital to our success both now and in the future. And we've got right now five seniors, in the offensive line, and I think three out of the 4 defensive linemen are seniors, unless I'm mistaken somebody. But we got some quality, juniors and sophomores that rotate in, that are working hard for their positions. But I think our line play has improved. That's part of, like we talked about earlier, with the culture and the different expectations, moving forward.
Before I let you go, a little update on the younger Cougars.
Well, there's good news there. The JV and freshmen both beat Lowell. So, I was the only idiot that lost to them. But our junior high guys, our 8th graders and 7th graders are still plugging away. 7th grade is still undefeated. And our 8th grade, that class is, like we've talked about before, low in numbers, but big in heart. And they get a little bit better every week. So, I think the future is bright for KV football. Get through this year best we can. And then there's a lot of football left to play this year. So, we make some things happen this year and then get back into the weight room and build for next year and build for the future. And who knows what's going to happen. But, I think that it's attitudes are positive. The kids are still in there churning, and when you've got that, like I said, you've got a chance.
Kirk, thanks for coming down tonight. I appreciate it, and good luck Friday, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, well, thanks for having us on.
Kirk Kennedy from the Kankakee Valley Cougars back to wrap things up on the Coach's Cage right after this.
Hi, this is Chuck Clark with the Underwood Insurance Agency, formerly Preferred Insurance Group. Are you tired of being sacked every month with your auto insurance bill? Do you feel you just pay your premium to your agent and never hear from them? We at the Underwood Insurance Agency work with over 10 insurance carriers to get you our best rate and coverage we can, and we pride ourselves on serving our customers like they are our family. We are conveniently located in Remington and Lafayette. We can be reached at underwoodagency.com. Reach out to us to score big savings.
Meet you at Arnie's, Rensselaer's go-to pizza, and so much more. Pizza, sandwiches, burgers are here. Don't forget about dessert. Wings, cheese sticks, garlic bread too. Arnie's pizza menu has something for everyone. Dine in or carry out in the best pizza in town. Located across from St. Joseph's College in Rensselaer. Call 219-866-9999 and meet you at Arnie's.
Pulver Psychological Services offers psychological counseling, consultation, and assessment. Locally owned and operated, Pulver Psych focuses on solutions for the community and serves as support for individuals, families, and organizations. Whether you're in need of personal, family, or success counseling, Pulver Psychological Services can help you reach your life goals. Increase work satisfaction, have better relationship compatibility, improve sports performance. Get in touch with Pulver Psychological Services by visiting pulverpsych.com.
In agriculture, preparation is important. Dedication is you deciding what to plant and then asking what it will take for a good crop. How much work will it take to produce the final crop? In sports, preparation is vital in becoming the best you can be. Dedication is a well of achievements for a winning desire. Corbett Farms encourages everyone to do their best by having a winning spirit, attitude, and achievement. Your positivity will make a difference. Corbett Farms is proud to sponsor high school sports.
Indiana Farm Bureau insurance agent Joe Goodman has been serving the Jasper County and surrounding area since 2009. Being involved in the area, Joe Goodman has kept his interest in making sure he provides the best insurance for his clients. Whether you need life, car, home, business, farm and crops, or even renter's insurance, Agent Joe Goodman will keep searching for the best policy for your valued investments. Call Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Joe Goodman at 219-866-4694 or stop in at 2570 North McKinley Avenue in Rensselaer.
After a hard day's work or play, it's time for some relaxation, and there's no better place than Unwind on Front Street in Rensselaer. For massage therapy, facials, spray tanning, yoga classes, and wellness, stop by Unwind. They also offer student-athletes 30-minute massages for $25. Alina would like to thank Unwind's loyal customers for their patronage since 2016. To make an appointment, call Unwind at 219-869-0290.
High-quality personalized dental service is what they do at Hillcrest Dental. For over 40 years, generations have relied on Hillcrest Dental for beautiful, healthy smiles. Dr. John Ayler and Dr. Jack Drone look forward to seeing you for your next dental visit. For information or to set your appointment, call 219-866-7117. That's 219-866-7117. Or visit hillcrestdental.net. Hillcrest Dental is a proud sponsor of all high school athletics. Pulver Psychological Services offers psychological counseling, consultation, and assessment. Locally owned and operated, Pulver Psych focuses on solutions for the community and serves as support for individuals, families, and organizations. Whether you're in need of personal, family, or success counseling, Pulver Psychological Services can help you reach your life goals. Increase work satisfaction, have better relationship compatibility, improve sports performance. Get in touch with Pulver Psychological Services by visiting pulverpsych.com.
Working with our customers has been Kentland Bank's trademark for 87 years. We're dedicated to making your visit a lasting one, and helping you achieve your goals is our #1 priority. With 5 locations, Kentland Bank offers all loans needed for today's businesses and families, including car loans, mortgages, agriculture, and commercial loans. We're here to make your busy life less hectic by offering online and mobile banking, bill pay, and P2P payments. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up here for week number 6 on the Coaches Kage Show. We want to thank all of our area coaches for coming on by and spending a little time with us here. Thank Beth and the crew here at Arnie's for feeding everybody, taking care of everybody so well. Their hospitality just is outstanding. We're awful lucky to be able to be here with them at such a great venue. So that's going to do it till Friday night at Rensselaer Central, where we'll have a big one, an old rivalry contest renewed, a Hoosier Conference big game Benton Central at Rensselaer Central. For my partners, Bob Kurtz and Scotty Miller, this is Bill K saying good night, everybody.
The proceeding was a presentation of 3KG Community Broadcasting.